Welcome to English Lab Channel. Tune in to natural fluency. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the English Lab Channel. I'm Chris, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Michelle.
Hi, Chris. I'm so excited about today's episode. Last time we talked about all the preparation, doing the research, choosing the right attire, and practicing our elevator pitch. But today is the big day. We are finally walking into that room.
Exactly. The moment of truth, as they say. You can be the most prepared person in the world, but if you freeze or lose your cool during the actual talk, all that groundwork can disappear in a second. Michelle, have you ever felt that sudden panic the moment you sit down in front of a recruiter?
Oh, absolutely. My heart starts racing and suddenly I forget how to speak English. But I've learned that the first few minutes are actually the most important part because that's when you have to break the ice.
Break the ice. That's such a classic expression. But Michelle, for our listeners who might be thinking about actual ice and hammers, what does it mean in a professional meeting?
No hammers required. To break the ice means to say or do something that makes people feel more relaxed, especially at the beginning of a meeting or a conversation. It's that small talk about the weather, the office building, or even a simple, "How is your day going?" It transforms a cold, formal environment into a warmer, more human connection.
That's a great way to put it. I remember an interview where I noticed a small Lego car on the interviewer's desk. I'm a huge fan of Lego, so I mentioned it. That tiny comment really helped us break the ice. We talked about hobbies for 30 seconds, and suddenly I wasn't scared anymore. I felt like I was talking to a person, not a robot.
See? That's perfect. It shows you're observant, too. But once the small talk is over, the real questions begin. Usually they start with something like, "Could you walk me through your resume?"
Walk me through. You know, Michelle, if a student hears that literally, they might start walking around the room while holding a piece of paper.
Can you imagine? "Look, Chris, I'm walking through my resume. Now I'm at the education section." No, please don't do that. Chris, how would you explain "walk me through" to someone who wants to sound professional?
It's a very common way to ask for a summary or an explanation of a process step by step. When an interviewer says, "Walk me through your career history," they want you to guide them through the most important parts of your background in a logical order. You aren't just reading the paper, you are telling the story of how you got from point A to point B.
I love that idea of telling a story. I had a cousin, Sophia, who used to just list her jobs like a robot. In 2018, I was a secretary. In 2020, I was a manager. It was so boring. I told her, "Sophia, you need to sell yourself better."
Sell yourself. That one always sounds a bit strange to people, doesn't it? It sounds like you're a product in a supermarket.
It does, but in the business world, it's essential. To sell yourself means to highlight your best qualities, skills, and achievements so the other person understands your value. It's not about being arrogant, it's about being confident in what you can offer. If you don't believe you're the best person for the job, why should they?
Exactly. You are the product and the salesperson at the same time. And part of selling yourself is showing that you have more than just technical knowledge. Nowadays, companies are obsessed with soft skills.
Oh, that's a big one. We hear that term everywhere. But for a B1 or B2 learner, soft might sound like a pillow or a blanket. Is it a comfortable skill, Chris?
Not exactly, though they do make the workplace more comfortable. Soft skills are personal attributes that allow you to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. Think about things like leadership, empathy, communication, and time management. Your hard skills are things like knowing how to code or speak a language, but your soft skills are how you use those tools with a team.
Right. You can be the best accountant in the world, but if you can't talk to your colleagues without starting an argument, you lack the necessary soft skills. I remember my friend Lucas. Remember Lucas from the last episode? He's the one who didn't do any groundwork. Well, in one interview, he was so nervous that he started to fidget like crazy.
Fidget? That's a funny sounding word. What was he doing exactly? Was he playing with a fidget spinner?
No, but almost. To fidget means to make small, restless movements with your hands or feet, usually because you're nervous, bored, or impatient. Lucas was clicking his pen over and over, click, 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 and tapping his foot on the floor. The interviewer couldn't even focus on his answers because the noise was so distracting.
Oh, I've been there. When I'm nervous, I tend to play with my ring or adjust my tie every 2 minutes. It's a natural reaction to stress, but in an interview, it can make you look unprepared or insecure. It's all part of that nonverbal communication we mentioned. You want to look calm, even if your stomach is doing gymnastics.
Definitely. And speaking of stress, let's talk about those moments when the interviewer throws you a curveball.
A curveball? That's a baseball term, right? I'm not very good at sports, Michelle, so you'll have to explain that one to me and the listeners.
You're right, it's from baseball. A curveball is a pitch that unexpectedly changes direction. In an interview, a curveball is a question or a situation that is completely unexpected and designed to see how you react under pressure. For example, if you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be? Or tell me about a time you completely failed and everyone saw it.
If I were a kitchen appliance, I'd probably be a coffee maker because I'm always helping people wake up. But you're right, those questions are tricky. They're not looking for a correct answer, they want to see your logic and how you handle the surprise. If you panic when you get a curveball, they might think you'll panic when a client is angry.
Definitely. It's a test of your mental flexibility, and the best way to handle those questions is through active listening.
Active listening. That sounds like you're running a marathon while listening to music.
Close, but it's a marathon for your brain. Active listening is a way of listening and responding to another person that improves mutual understanding. It's not just hearing the words, it's showing that you are fully engaged. You nod, you maintain eye contact, and you perhaps repeat a small part of their question to show you understood. For example, "That's a great question about team conflict. In my experience."
I love that. It gives you a few seconds to think, too. It's much better than just saying, for 10 seconds, and it shows respect. If the interviewer feels heard, they're going to like you much more.
For sure. Now, Chris, we've talked about the beginning and the middle of the talk, but what about the end? Some people just finish their last answer and run out of the room as fast as they can.
I've definitely felt that urge, but you can't just disappear. You have to think about the follow-up. Follow-up. We use that as a verb and a noun, right? Like, I will follow up with you, or this is a follow-up email. Exactly. A follow-up is an action or communication that's done after an initial event to increase its effectiveness. In the context of an interview, it's usually that thank you email you send a few hours later. It's your chance to reiterate your interest and maybe mention one specific thing you discussed. It keeps you top of mind for the recruiter.
It's such a small gesture, but it makes a huge difference. My sister actually got a job once because the other candidate forgot the follow-up, and she sent a very polite note that showed she really understood the company's challenges. It was the final step in closing the deal.
Closing the deal. That sounds very Wall Street, Michelle.
Well, we are in the English lab. We use all kinds of terms. To close the deal means to successfully reach an agreement or to finalize a process. In an interview, it's that final impression you leave that makes them say, yes, this is the one. Hire them. It's about ending the conversation with strength and clarity.
I think the best way to close the deal is to be very direct and to the point.
To the point. I like that. It's much better than talking in circles, right?
Oh, definitely. Being to the point means expressing something clearly and directly without wasting time on unnecessary details. Interviewers are busy people. They might have 10 interviews in one day. If you can explain your value quickly and clearly, they will appreciate your respect for their time.
That is so true. I once had an interview where the candidate talked for 15 minutes about his dog. I mean, I love dogs, but we were there to talk about digital marketing. He was definitely not being to the point.
Poor guy. Maybe he wanted the dog to get the job. But you're right, clarity is key. So, Michelle, let's imagine we're in that room. We've broken the ice, we've walked them through our resume, we've handled the curveballs, and we've been very to the point. What's the vibe like now?
Hopefully the vibe is success. But you know, Chris, even with all these tips, people still get so nervous about their English level. They worry that if they make a grammar mistake, the interview is over.
I'm glad you brought that up. Listeners, please hear this. Most recruiters, unless you're applying to be an English professor, don't care about a small mistake with a preposition. They care about communication. They care about those soft skills we mentioned. If you can explain a complex idea even with a few errors, you're showing high-level ability.
Exactly. It's about confidence. If you fidget and look at the floor because you're worried about your present perfect, you look insecure. But if you look them in the eye and sell yourself with passion, they will focus on your talent, not your grammar.
That is the best advice we can give. Use the English you have to show the professional you are. Don't let a missing S in the third person stop you from being amazing.
An S in the third person, it's not the end of the world. But of course, we are here to help you improve those details too. That's why we do the English Lab.
Precisely. Now, Michelle, before we wrap up today's session, why don't we share a couple of personal interview horror stories? I think it helps people feel less alone.
Oh, I have a classic one. I once went to an interview, this was years ago, and I was so focused on my elevator pitch that I didn't realize I had a giant smear of chocolate on my white shirt. I had eaten a brownie in the car because I was stressed.
No! Did you notice during the talk?
Halfway through, I looked down and saw this brown spot right on my chest. I started to fidget, trying to cover it with my hand, which made me look even weirder. Finally, I just said, "I'm so sorry. I think I had a battle with a brownie this morning, and the brownie won."
That's brilliant. Did you break the ice with that?
I did. The interviewer started laughing and told me about the time she spilled a whole latte on a CEO. It made the whole thing so much more relaxed. And you know what? I got the job.
See? That's the power of being human. My horror story is a bit different. I once arrived at an interview and realized I had completely forgotten the name of the person I was meeting. When the receptionist asked, "Who are you here to see?" I just stood there like a statue.
Oh no, what did you do?
I had to pretend I was looking for my ID in my bag so I could secretly check the email on my phone. I was sweating so much. It was a real low for me. But I learned my lesson. Always write the interviewer's name on a notebook or a sticky note.
We've all been there, Chris. The important thing is how you recover. You didn't run away. You found a solution and kept going.
Exactly. And that's what a job is, really. It's just a series of problems that you have to solve with a smile. If you can do that in the interview, they know you can do it in the office.
Well said. I think we've given our listeners a lot of food for thought today. From breaking the ice to closing the deal, the during the talk phase is all about presence and communication.
It really is. And remember, everyone, an interview is a two-way street. You're also interviewing them to see if you actually want to work there.
That's a great point. Maybe in a future episode, we can talk about the best questions you can ask the employer. But for now, let's do a quick recap of our 10 terms for today's episode.
Let's do it. I'll start. Term number 1 was break the ice. Use small talk to make the atmosphere more relaxed at the start.
Term number 2, walk me through. This is when you explain a story or a process, like your resume, step by step.
3, sell yourself. Don't be shy. Highlight your achievements and show them why you are the best choice.
Term number 4, soft skills. These are the people skills like communication and leadership that are just as important as your technical knowledge.
Term number 5, fidget. Try to avoid those nervous little movements with your hands or feet that can be distracting.
Term number 6, curveball. Be ready for that unexpected, tricky question that tests your ability to think on your feet.
Term number 7, active listening. Show the interviewer you are truly engaged by nodding, making eye contact, and responding thoughtfully.
Term number 8, to the point. Keep your answers clear and direct. Don't talk for 20 minutes about your pet turtle.
Term number 9, follow-up. Send that thank you email or message after the interview to stay top of mind.
And term number 10, closing the deal. Make that final strong impression to finalize the process and get that job offer.
What a great list. If you can master these terms and the concepts behind them, your B1 or B2 level is going to sound more like a C1. It's all about the nuance of the language.
I agree. Well, Chris, I think I'm going to go and active listen to some music now to relax after all this talk about interviews.
Enjoy that. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us again. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident the next time you're in the hot seat.
Don't forget to check the show notes for the definitions and some example sentences using today's words.
And as always, if you have any questions or you want to share your own brownie story, leave us a comment. We love reading them.
Until next time, keep practicing and keep believing in yourselves.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Michelle.
See you in the next episode of English Lab Channel.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. Keep practicing, keep connecting, and don't let your fluency fade to static. Leave us a comment with your stories, hit that subscribe button to join our community, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. See you in the next broadcast.